Live from downtown Evansville, you're watching the 2024 Eclipse over Evansville on Eyewitness News.
The day we have been waiting for is finally here, the total solar eclipse. Eyewitness News has wall-to-wall team coverage of the once-in-a-lifetime event over the tri-state.
Evansville, Indiana, and the tri-state won't experience another one until 2645. So we've got over 600 years until we see another one.
Evansville is in the path of totality, with day turning into night. People from all across the country have made their way to the tri-state for the experience.
We can say for sure, hundreds of thousands of people are expected to come here.
Experts say you will feel, hear, and see the eclipse's effects.
This total eclipse is going to be this total sensory experience. So get ready. Brace yourself. This should be great.
Our coverage of the eclipse over Evansville starts right now.
Happy Eclipse Day, everybody. We are downtown where the party is happening to welcome the moon moving in front of the sun. Thank you so much for joining us for this total solar eclipse. I'm Shelley Kirk.
I'm Brandon Bartlett. The day is finally here. We've been talking about it for months now. We are live along the Evansville riverfront, right in the middle of everything, with a few thousand of our friends here, all waiting to experience totality.
And of course, our resident scientist, our chief meteorologist, Wayne Hart, is here. Tell us what's going to happen. The moon is going to move in front of the sun.
Well, first of all, the weather's good.
Oh, yes,
I was sweating
absolutely.
it out.
That is the biggest thing.
Dense fog advisory this morning, low clouds until about 10 a.m. But now we are in good shape. But the eclipse is now underway. And
I think
we
they
have
can see
a
it
shot
right
of
now.
it right now. So this is the time frame that you need your glasses. You can actually put your safety glasses on and actually look up and see the partial shadow. That's a shadow. You can see the moon now moving in front of the sun, and that's going to slowly progress between now and then totality begins in Evansville at 2:02. And we will be in totality for about 3 minutes, ending at 2:05. Now, once we get into totality, you can take your glasses off. But between now and then, you'll need them. And then after totality at 2:05, we go back into that partial phase, and that will then end at 3:20 this afternoon.
And this is not going to happen again. You want to experience it if you can with your glasses for safety now, because it's not going to happen again until like 20 years from now.
129 years for Evansville.
Oh, for Evansville.
Next time Evansville will see this 129 years from today.
Right before we went on, I put my glasses on and went out there to look. It is quite the sight to see, just to see the moon starting to move into the path of
when
the sun.
I looked, I didn't see it. You saw it.
I did see it.
So their little bites already go. Okay.
Amazing. Now, we're going to have you covered today until 2:30 after the eclipse. We have teams all across the tri-state today, including one in Grayville, Illinois. We also have a team covering all the traffic across the tri-state today.
And we're going to check with all of them in just a minute, but we've got a team back at the studio as well, Wayne.
That's right. Stacey's been keeping an eye on the weather. I think we're in good shape, but just to make sure where the clouds are and none are moving our way, let's head to the studio now and talk to both Brad and Stacey.
All right, thank you guys. And I'll tell you, the past few days, I can't think of anyone who has not at least glanced at those 7-day forecasts, seeing a lot of cloud cover there. And we saw some cloud cover earlier today, but as Wayne said, things are now, pardon the pun, looking up. Now let's get right to Stacey May. We're going to keep an eye on this situation, Stacey, at least during the next hour and a half. This is really a 3-hour show as far as the astronomical story goes, starting with the partial eclipse, totality, and then the moon departing.
That's right. We just began it at 12:45, the partial part of the eclipse. And like Wayne said, we'll be in totality in Evansville 2:02 to 2:05. Then it all ends at 3:20. And also, like Wayne said, we have all been kind of sweating out this forecast because it was a narrow window that we had between the storms we had last night and the showers that begin again later tonight and tomorrow. But we are looking good. So real quick, let's look kind of at the timeline here from 2 to 3 to 4 as we take you through the next few hours and experience this total solar eclipse with you. So a partly cloudy sky for us. So again, favorable viewing conditions. We're in good shape. At 2 p.m. that temperature will kind of level off actually for a little while, may even drop a degree as we go into totality. And then by 3 p.m. as we kind of begin to come out of that partial eclipse by 3:20, we'll again kind of hold steady around 74 74 degrees. And then the temperature, once we get the full sun back, will start to go up a couple more degrees later this afternoon. So here's Storm Tracker. This is our visible satellite. And you can see we do have some clouds up to about the Evansville area, but those are mainly high-level cirrus clouds. So again, we're looking fine for viewing that from Evansville to the north and west. Then we do have a few more of those puffy cumulus clouds that have tried to develop to the south and to the east of Evansville. And you can see some of those kind of bubbling up here on our visible satellite. Those are still scattered, though. So again, still pretty good viewing, even if you are south and east of Evansville. And where we actually have the thicker and more numerous cumulus clouds, where you see some of those brighter shades of white, basically south of a line from Madisonville to Calhoun, Owensboro, and Tell City. That's where we'll have more clouds, but that's also where you are not in the path of totality. So we're kind of okay with that. But look how close that is. Not only did we have to get between the system last night and the one starting tomorrow, but again, some of those puffier cumulus clouds are not too far away. But look at Future Tracker as we go from 1 to 2 p.m. here. And again, this is right before we hit totality in the Evansville area. It actually looks even a little bit better. Some of those cumulus clouds kind of start to pull away a little bit to the east, and that will continue between the 2 and 3 o'clock hour too. So bottom line is, I think we'll just stay partly cloudy, mainly some of those high, thin cirrus clouds from the Evansville area to the north and west, and then a few more of those puffy clouds mixing in farther to the southwest. There's a quick look for you at the west side of Evansville, University of Southern Indiana there, and that crowd continues to grow. So I'll continue to keep an eye on that visible satellite, Brad, but happy to report that right now we are looking great as we have now begun our total eclipse, and we get into that totality in less than an hour now. Hard to believe.
Okay, and Solar Palooza out at USI going very well. They've got a great angle there at the University of Southern Indiana. 31 million people in the USA will be able to see this totality historic moment. There are going to be some areas that will have cloud cover, but overall in our region, Indiana has a pretty good swath of sunshine this afternoon. And it's about a 100-mile wide totality path, so it is bigger than the 2017 eclipse that we experienced about 7 years ago. And with that, let's see how the crowds are picking up downtown. Let's head back to Shelley, Brandon, and Wayne on the Evansville riverfront.
Thank you, Brad and Stacy. Shelley's getting a first-hand look right now at what it looks like, the partial eclipse right now. Isn't it neat to see? Yes. Well, several communities all across the tri-state are in the path of totality. They will get to experience darkness around 2 o'clock this afternoon. Grayville, Illinois is one of those communities. They'll be in the dark for about 4 minutes.
Now, we won't see that much, right?
But 3 minutes here, so still very significant here. But yeah, if you want bonus coverage, if you will, another 20 miles to the northwest, you get about 4 minutes of totality.
You got to jump in your car right now and get there, because you're going to miss it if you don't.
And you can see it right. We had it up on the screen right there. Yeah, good to see it.
Grayville, we had it. Oh, cool. Okay, well, Hannah Hurley is there at a KOA campground. We're hearing a lot of folks are going to the campgrounds all around this totality area in order to just kind of camp out and get the experience. And there it is right there. That's our total solar eclipse in Evansville. Next to Hannah Hurley, who is in Grayville. Hey, Hannah.
That's right, you guys. Good afternoon. When we got here this morning at 6 a.m., it was dark, it was gray, it was foggy, but as you can see, the sun has come out and it is clear blue skies over here for us in Grayville, Illinois. All morning, people have been taking advantage of the amenities that the KOA campground has to offer. Mini golf, a playground, there's a mercantile with souvenirs, and it's all Old West themed, so it's just a really, really cool vibe here. So that was all earlier today, but now the eclipse has officially started, so people are starting to look up. We've been told there's a little over 300 people here for viewing the eclipse, which is set to hit totality in just about an hour from now. All of these people are spread out, so I think it's going to be a quiet and really surreal experience. We're all just getting really excited over here, and we'll check in with you after totality and we'll get reaction from it. I think it's going to be a really cool experience. From everyone we've talked to who have been in the path of totality before, they all have great things to say. They say it's unlike nothing we've ever seen before, so I think it'll be a good one, but we'll send it back to you for now.
Okay, so that band of totality runs all the way from Texas all the way up to Maine, and in that line, which we're sitting in, thankfully, about 30 million people are going to be able to see this happen.
And we're a few of those people. We're lucky to get to see that. The meteorologist Cody Bailey has what you need to know about today's eclipse.
The cosmic curtain is about to rise on the greatest show on Earth.
A total solar eclipse occurs usually around twice a year somewhere in the world. It is a consequence of the fact that the moon is orbiting around our planet, the Earth. So, usually twice a year, the moon will come directly in between the sun and the Earth, blocking out some or all of its light.
The last time totality crisscrossed the U.S. was in 2017, with totality lasting 2.5 minutes.
So unfortunately, not everyone in the world can see a total solar eclipse when it happens. You need to be in very specific places. In fact, if you want to see a total solar eclipse, you need to be within a very specific region known as the path of totality. Essentially, that is the place where the moon's shadow is passing over the surface of the Earth.
This year, totality will last up to 4 minutes, 28 seconds in some spots.
And when it reaches that point of totality, it will be darker, it will be colder as well, because the moon is not only blocking the sun's light, it's blocking its warmth as well.
And it is important not to look at the sun without protective eyewear. Looking at the sun with the naked eye is incredibly dangerous, so make sure to wear those special eclipse glasses.
The sun's UV radiation is capable of destroying the soft tissue in the back of your eyeballs. It's not very nice. It can cause severe and sometimes permanent damage to your vision.
The next total solar eclipse in 2026 will grace the northern fringes of Greenland, Iceland, and Spain. North America won't experience totality again until 2033, with Alaska getting sole dibs. There won't be another U.S. eclipse spanning coast to coast until 2045. That one will stretch from northern California to Cape Canaveral, Florida.
And NASA also says that it usually takes 400 to 1,000 years for an eclipse to hit the same spot again. I know, Wayne, you said Evansville won't be seeing a total eclipse for
another 120. October 17th, 2153. So put your calendar, get that on your calendar.
Mark it down now, yeah.
And one place just outside the tri-state, Carbondale, Illinois, saw 2017 and this one.
That's right. In 2017, it went across southern Illinois into western Kentucky, and we were down in the Madisonville area broadcasting for that eclipse. But this one also doesn't get Madisonville this time, but it does get Carbondale, and they had it back in 2017 too.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
You know, experts say when totality hits that there's some environmental changes that take place.
That's right, and I remember you and Brad and you were both down in Kentucky when the last partial eclipse happened, and I remember Brad saying the most notable thing he remembers is the crickets coming out. It's like all the nighttime sounds you hear happen in the middle of day.
Yeah, make sure you experience that part of the eclipse, because you're going to want to be behind your phone taking pictures, but just sit back and take in the environment around you and listen to nature, listen to the insects and the birds react, because they will. And that is a very interesting part of this experience.
And we've also heard that coyotes might howl, especially if you're out in the county. I know that there are some coyotes in this area. They may begin howling. Dogs may become a little bit restless too. I'm a little worried about my own there at home. But experts also say to be aware of different colors that you're going to see when the moon starts to cover the sun.
What you're not going to realize is all the different kinds of colors that might exist during that entire eclipse. So pay attention to the colors, because of the way in which the light is scattered, you're going to notice that there are things that are very, very different you haven't experienced before.
We've also heard that there's going to be a drop in temperature. How much are we going to expect?
Probably a few degrees. I mean, totality will last about 3 minutes, and obviously we get direct sun. Temperatures will be in the 70s, so my guess is we'll see and feel the temperature drop a few degrees also. That's something else to just kind of feel as all this happens.
It's pretty warm out there right now.
It is. It is.
With our screen behind us, you can't see a whole lot, but folks are really enjoying it all along the riverfront here. Folks are cooking out right over there, and folks are just kind of camping out. It is like a big tailgate.
And it's interesting, though, because we didn't know how many people would be downtown, but if you were kind of shying away from coming downtown because of the huge crowd, this is not as big as fireworks. If you've ever been down here for the fireworks,
I noticed that too.
There's not as many people here, because I think locals are kind of spread out across all the city. I mean, a lot of out-of-towners that came to Evansville are down here. So it's a nice, healthy, manageable crowd.
Yeah, you may have to walk a little bit. Parking is still kind of an issue.
Sure, yeah.
But I know that the back 40 was wide open.
If you live in the Evansville area, step outside your home.
Yeah, and I did see a lot of folks
spot.
in their backyards or gathering in open areas like along U of E. They just pulled up chairs, and it's kind of like, we heard a guy last week saying, I'm going to treat it as a tailgate.
Yes,
and I think a lot of folks are doing that.
Yeah.
And there was somebody right over here who was trying to take a picture of the solar eclipse happening. Well, you need to be careful about doing that with your phones, but you can also help NASA researchers today by taking pictures of the eclipse with your phone. You have to do it safely, though. Researchers behind an app called Sun Sketcher want to get as many users in the path of totality as possible to download it. All you have to do is set your phone down so the back camera is facing the sun. The app will automatically take photos right before and after totality. Experts say people will be able to contribute valuable data to help measure the size and shape of the sun, but you got to download that app in order to do that, called Sun Sketcher. If you use your own phone, you're going to have to be really careful about using your glasses or some kind of filter.
Filter,
right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, transportation officials, as we said, estimate over 1 million people pass through Kentucky alone. It's going to be mostly partial, but they're going to be making their way through Kentucky to get to the totality area, which is here in Evansville, to get to a viewing destination. And with all of these extra visitors, they say there has been a little bit of issue with some traffic jams, slow traffic here and there.
Yeah, Henderson County EMA says that they have been preparing this for over a year now. They're going to be monitoring any issues that may come up today. Eyewitness News' Ann Powell has been spending some time with the Henderson County EMA Mobile Command Unit on the Highway 41 strip. She's live now with more for us. Ann?
Yeah, that's right, guys. We are in Evansville going on Highway 41 right now, and for the most part, it has been smooth sailing. There have been pockets of slower traffic here and there, but for the most part, everybody is taking it slow. And I'll flip the camera around so you can see what I'm seeing right now. Like I said, this is along Highway 41, passing by the McDonald's, and for the most part, like I said, it's been pretty smooth sailing. Henderson County EMA is keeping an eye on the traffic from their command post they set up at Denny's in the parking lot on Highway 41 there in Henderson. An important note, though, Kentucky 3522 and Ellis Park, Kentucky exit is closed due to flooding. Drivers will need to seek an alternate route to get back to the south side of the river. KYTC says it is also planning to close the southbound lanes coming out of Ellis Park around 2 p.m., which is when Henderson EMA anticipates traffic to start picking up. We spoke to them earlier today, and this is what they told us in terms of helping you plan for the traffic jams.
It's already started at 12:45, so we're already starting to get into eclipse mode, but at that point in time anyway, so things are just starting to pick up northbound, and the big exodus will be a little bit after 2 when they start going back south.
And we will continue to keep you updated on the road. For now, reporting in Evansville, Ann Powell, Eyewitness News.
All right, so we're also, of course, monitoring the Highway 41 twin bridges. We don't want an accident on there today. That would really cause some chaos. So right now we're kind of focusing on the northbound span because that's where everybody would be coming in. And I think we have a live view from our tower camera from Ellis Park to see how the traffic is doing on the Highway 41 twin bridges. And everything looking good there. So that's a good sign. Now, after the eclipse, it's going to be the southbound span and that Highway 41 strip that's probably going to get bottlenecked quite a bit because we saw that in 2017. Everybody kind of filters in ahead of the eclipse, but afterwards, a lot of people just want to get back home, and so that's what we'll be watching. But at least as of right now, we're not having any major issues with the Highway 41 twin bridges, or really any of the roadways here in the immediate tri-state area. But that will change, I think, dramatically as we head after the eclipse. Of course, totality ends in Evansville at 2:05, and the partial part of the eclipse is over at 3:20.
Okay, so hopefully traffic won't be too bad, but you pretty much have to expect it to be, so be prepared for that. We want to bring in a special guest that was down here along the riverfront, Lieutenant Governor Suzanne Crouch, Indiana Lieutenant Governor. Thank you so much for being here today. This is a big event. We have been, of course, talking about this and preparing about this for years, but a number of people that are coming into our area is certainly having an impact on not only Evansville, but the state of Indiana. Talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely, and as Lieutenant Governor, I head up tourism in Indiana, and we have been planning a year and a half for this event because it is supposed to attract 500,000 people from outside of Indiana to our state. And we are actually contracting with the company to figure out that economic impact. But what has happened in the past is that the impact has been anywhere from $100 to $200 million. And the important thing about that is 68 cents of every tourism dollar spent in a community stays in that community. So this is going to have a huge economic impact for Evansville, Southwest Indiana, and the state of Indiana, because 90% of Indiana will be in totality.
And what has the goal been? Has it been to get people here early, have them stay here for a couple days, maybe even a day afterwards?
Have them stay here for about a year.
Yeah, that'd be nice. But that has been the plan all along.
Oh, yeah. And beds, heads are in beds all over Indiana, and, we're seeing all kinds of events because, like I said, it isn't like you can only come to the riverfront in Evansville to experience it. You can go anywhere in 90% of Indiana and experience the total eclipse of the sun. So these kind of events are all over Indiana, bringing people here, spending their money here, helping to grow our economy.
Yeah, and Indiana has one of the biggest draws this year, too, with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway being open for people to go see.
Absolutely, yes. But I chose to be here.
Well, good. I'm glad that you did.
But what better place to be than in my hometown of Evansville?
So how does Evansville take something like this and turn it into a destination place where if people experience this, they want to come back?
Well, I think that's the thing. When people come to Indiana and they experience our Hoosier hospitality, they come back, and oftentimes they end up staying in Indiana. So we know that getting people to stay here permanently, it happens with that first visit. So I expect we're going to see some of the people that have come to Indiana just to witness this event will end up being residents of Indiana. That's the ultimate.
We know last week we had a story about a gentleman from Wales, the country Wales, that came here. His name happened to be Evan, I believe, and he chose Evansville because of his name.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. But he and his family came here to experience the eclipse in the town with his namesake, Evansville. But that's an example of how people anywhere can be drawn to our city, and we just need to make the most of that. And I'm sure all along the riverfront, there's a lot of visitors here from out of town, out of state.
Well, yesterday I was up in Hobart, up in northwest Indiana, and coming back to Evansville, because I come home every weekend, I saw more license plates from out of state than I did from in-state. So people are coming here. We know it's happening, and that's good for Indiana.
Absolutely. That's right. Good. All right, Lieutenant Governor Susan Price, thank you so much for being here. Enjoy the day. Happy Eclipse Day.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, you bet.
We're going to send it now back to Brad in the studio. Brad?
All right. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Shelley. And Wayne, just looking at the partial eclipse, that in itself, what a show that is. I don't know if we can punch that camera up before we get to our interview here, but this is one of the rare times that you can look up in the sky and say, oh, it's a half sun, it's a new sun, it's a crescent sun. It's a quarter sun, and right now, as you see the moon slowly moving into the sun's path there, it is an incredible sight, and if you keep your eye on it safely with those glasses, you can see the gradual movement of the moon. And with that being said, NASA and other research groups will be using today's eclipse to better understand our planet and the sun. Now, the eclipse might also become one of the year's most taped and photographed events. Joining me now is NASA Solar System Ambassador Gary Barr from Evansville. Gary, what a show we are seeing out there. And you have spent your life following NASA and its exploration of space. How rare is a total solar eclipse? Now, we've reported that for Evansville, it's going to be another 120 some odd years before we see something like this. Future generations, obviously. But how rare are these? And these go way back in time.
Well, the last time it actually hit the state of Indiana was back in 1869, so they don't pop up too often in our state. It basically is the Earth rotates. There are solar eclipses throughout the time in different locations, but sometimes you have to be in the middle of the Pacific Ocean to see it. It's not where it rolls across Evansville, Indiana, like we're seeing this one. Back in 2017, it was a 99% eclipse for us, so we could never take off our eclipse glasses and see the sun directly. We always had to leave those on. This is the first time in a very long time that we'll be able to actually take them off and look straight at the sun and not get yelled at for it. So, so it's a very exciting time and something again, like you said, it's going to be a long time before we have that chance, and none of us will be around for it.
That's right, and we're seeing a simulated version of that. I think a lot of people think that that's how fast it happens, what we're seeing right here, but this, of course, is an animated demonstration of the eclipse. This is quite a show indeed, Gary, because really, if you want to kick back and see this incredible sight, you've got about a 3-hour window there to do it. And people were treated to a solar eclipse back in 2017. Wayne Hart and John Simpson and I were fortunate enough to go down to Madisonville to witness that. But this eclipse that we're seeing today has been described as a more encompassing event by the nature of the size of its totality. Tell me about that.
Well, it's just, for Evansville to be able to walk out our backyard and look up and see it is just such a unique experience. And it's something I hope everybody, goes out and enjoys. And don't forget, it's not only just the main event of seeing, a solar eclipse, but also, you want to actually feel it and listen to it, because it'll actually change the way that we're seeing things and hearing things. The birds are going to come out, they're going to nest, and then bats are going to come out. Frogs are going to think it's nighttime. All kinds of things are going to happen. It can even change the winds, the humidity, the temperature can drop up to 10 degrees even during that eclipse totality. So not just look up at the sky, but actually pay attention to everything around it and the ways the sounds change. So it's one of those events that we've had, close calls in Evansville. We could have drove, down to Paducah or something to see one, but for us to be able to stand out in our backyard and look up is definitely special.
I asked Dr. Kent Scheller from the University of Southern Indiana. He is a professor of physics. What amazes me is that we are able to say, and we were able to say on this event, years ago, there would be a total solar eclipse of the sun in Evansville, Indiana at around 2 o'clock in 2024. That's amazing how they're able to pinpoint that so early.
Yeah, I mean, in history, the solar eclipse was something that surprised people and even caused fear. There's even known a war that actually was going on, and all of a sudden the solar eclipse happened, and they thought the gods must be mad, and so they stopped their war because of it. So now today we can kind of predict things. Again, we know exactly it's going to be October 17th at 21:53 that here in Evansville we'll be able to do this again. So those sciences are definitely pretty spot on of figuring out how the planets rotate and the moon's going to go around it.
And I know a lot of folks will have those cell phones out. They probably already have them out. How well do they work? I mean, they can capture some critical images, but how well do they work to see something like this?
I'm going to be honest. It's best to put the cell phone away. They're just not going to capture a great image. If you want to take one quick photo just so you remember you were there, that's great. But you want to have professional equipment to really experience what it's going to be. The cell phones will not do it. And even if so, you have to have a special cover, just like for your eyes, for your lens, because if you point it up at the sun, you can't actually damage the lens. And then photos you take, either you get nothing or you get distorted colors because it damages the internal parts. So I recommend really just enjoy the solar eclipse by just experiencing it versus trying to record it with your cell phone.
And I've been told, now I have not witnessed this, but I know scientists are going to be looking at it. I assume people who have special telescopes can see it, but there's a possibility we might see a comet during this?
Yes, the Pons-Brooks comet is currently heading towards the sun. And it's basically, it has a journey that's 71 years that it revolves around the sun itself and is coming through. So we've been kind of watching it for a while, but as it gets closer to the sun, it starts venting, gases into space, and it's turned into quite a something to see. Now, if we can see it with our naked eyes, unfortunately, we really don't have much experience with that. We don't have a lot of eclipses to let us see how great this comet's going to light up. We do know there's been great photography done with it, and there's definitely going to be a lot of people pointing cameras in that direction to try to capture not only the eclipse but also the comet heading towards the sun in their photos. But there might still be a chance because as it's gotten closer, it has vented a whole bunch of stuff into space and has made it to where it is visible to the naked eye. But I would also at the same time kind of look up there. You'll see all the planets align. Right now, this is going to be at totality. You'll actually be able to see every planet that's out there. You'll be able to see it all lined up in a row. And if you kind of look between the highest part, which is Jupiter, is going to be up there, and between where the sun is, we might be able to see the comet kind of line up between there. But again, don't spend a lot of time on that. If you don't see it right off, don't keep looking for it. Enjoy the rest of the stuff that's going on.
Our NASA Solar System Ambassador, thank you so much for taking the time. I don't want to keep you any longer. I know you're inside, and you're very anxious, obviously, to... You got the glasses
ready to head out, yeah.
You got a big pair of glasses there. Okay. Well, Gary, thank you so much for joining us on this moment of history and a phenomenal event that we are so lucky to witness today here in the Evansville area. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Brad.
Well, the eclipse over Evansville coverage continues right after this break.